this. And finally, before I forget, I know I have to conclude, I wanted to just also mention the Public Space Program. We're very happy to upgrade public spaces on the coast in Mombasa. In Kilifi, we just had a groundbreaking, and the Kilifi governor has invested a big amount of money in this public space that we jointly designed with the Go Blue project, the block-by-block methodology. So we are seeing also that we are catalyzing actually investments and change at the local level, as opposed to just bringing in external ideas. So that was the quick summary. Thank you so much, and I'm looking forward to the discussion.
Thank you, Florian. Our next speaker is Ms. Ivana Bunlova. Ms. Bunlova is a senior program advisor in UN Habitat's humanitarian development work stream within the Planning, Economy, and Finance section. She'll bring a unique perspective regarding the intermittent rivers and humanitarian development contexts.
Thank you very much. Good morning, distinguished delegates, guests, and UN Habitat colleagues. So I'm here to introduce a piece of normative work in our Planning, Finance, and Economy section here at Habitat Headquarters, which is focusing on designing of dryland displacement. It springs from practice on the ground, from the development of the Kakuma refugee camps and Kalobea settlement in Turkana County. For those of you who may not be familiar with Kenya's geography, it is the northwest corner of the country, between three countries, South Sudan, Uganda, and Ethiopia. And it is, of course, in principle, a semi-arid area. There is nonetheless a seasonal river which can flood, and it can flood mightily. It's the Tarach River. Within this, space, there is a large population of people, both, of course, the local Turkanas and over 200,000 refugees. Refugees from the neighboring countries that I have mentioned, plus another 19 countries. Altogether, over 20 different nationalities that are being housed in Kakuma. And the refugee complex has been there for the past 30 years. The work and the publication that is soon coming to you in the coming months is, as I said earlier, summarizing the work, the practice that has been developed together with other partners who have been working with UN Habitat on the ground, but also is proposing what I would call basically a retrofit, because let's face it, what normally happens in displacement situations, especially in the massive displacement situations such as the one that we have in Turkana, is that the planning, or rather, things happen without planning, or the planning is certainly not looking at sustainability. And this is really a case in point, because we now, 30 years down the line, are really faced with a situation where we have increasing population on both sides, both the nationals and the refugees, yet we have structures and setup which is really not viable, and contributes to the further desertification of the area, because the resources are being depleted. At the same time, not taking advantage of what I mentioned is the seasonal flooding, which then can actually be used to harness, the possibilities for both locals and the refugees, and support the whole model of sustainable development on which we are now embarking, or have embarked some few years back, and which we hope to bring to fruition under one urban settlement, urban center, and which is really now being supported from the county, including to establishment of a new governance unit, namely Kakuma municipality. So we are really now looking at designing an integrated spatial and governance space in the middle of a very, very challenging environmental situation. So this is where this guide comes in. Obviously, there is a lot of learning that from this work that has global validity, because we know that. And if I'm talking really as coming from the humanitarian development team here in Habitat, the displacement situations, which increasingly are not only due to conflict but also due to climate, obviously are happening, and on our continent here are happening predominantly in the dryland or the arid or semi-arid areas. So the solutions that we are proposing in the publication, which are really nature-based, not necessarily really requiring whole lot of resources, using very much. When I heard Dr. Pamela talking about the Nairobi rivers, the approaches are very similar. We are really looking at the greening. We are looking at the most sophisticated, I would say, intervention that is proposed is the picture that you see at the bottom of the slide, which is the basically creation of a dam. Okay, it has a shape of an amphitheater, but we are looking at creating a dam which is seasonal and which can provide water for bridging the dry seasons. There are other interventions that are being proposed in the guide and in sub-Saharan Africa, and so we invite. Once it's published, there is